What's going on, everybody? This is Joe.
And Amy.
And we are back with another episode of Batman the Telltale series. Last time, we really were acting as the world's greatest detective. We investigated a deal that was going down thanks to a frank and real conversation with Selina Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman, who we know who she is, secret identity-wise, and she knows who we are, secret identity-wise. And so once Harvey Dent walked away, we were able to have that frank conversation, and we found out where a deal was going to be going down that Catwoman was supposed to be at, but she didn't have the materials that were needed for the deal, because we did. And we went instead and found a horrific crime scene.
Yeah.
Which we investigated as Batman. We found a survivor, interrogated him, and even though Alfred thinks we beat the guy up and put him in the hospital, we definitely did not. But now, having returned here to the Batcave, we found that the data has finally been decrypted, and it turns out Mayor Hill, which is where the data drive was stolen from, had been compiling a bunch of data on Falcone, seemingly as like a, mutually assured destruction scenario where if Falcone turned on the mayor would be able to give out all the dirt on Falcone and his organization. But now that we have it, we have a choice to make. And Alfred basically, or the two of us together kind of presented it, that this is a police matter, and so the only police officer that we could choose, because the only one we know we can trust, who's not in Falcone's pocket, for sure, is Lieutenant James Gordon. But we could also turn it over to the people and use the Gazette's reporter in Vicki Vale. And that's how we left the last episode off, because Amy, rightfully so, pointed out the fact that this is a very tough decision, and it's kind of a big deal. I mean, we know, right, from a meta perspective, that in Telltale games, when it's a tough choice, they give you all the time in the world. Yeah. And so we spent a fair bit of time talking about this. Whereas, the dialogue options have a clock. This, we could sit here for hours. We won't, but we could, debating, talking, discussing, etc. And this will never, force a choice for us. We have to make this choice ourselves. And so, Amy, at the end of the last episode, you were very conflicted. We had some discussions about it. Do you have any more discussions that you want to have, or have you come to a conclusion?
I've come to a conclusion, I believe, but I do want to discuss it because
I love it.
I need y'all to understand my reasoning.
Smart. That's why we're doing it this way. I love it. Yes, please.
So the only context I can bring to this is that of the real world, right? So, to me, the choice here is James Gordon.
Okay.
And the reason is to protect Vicki Vale's life. Now, one might say all this dirt on Falcone gets released to the public and the reporter gets killed, everybody's gonna know who done it.
Correct.
Issue is, in the real world, that happens all the time, and it doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to make that much of a difference if everybody knows who done it, because one, she's still dead, and two, if you can't prove it, you can't get them on it.
I was just going to say, from a logistical standpoint, no matter what everybody quote-unquote knows or not, like you said, if there is not evidence of that crime and who committed it, that person might as well not have committed it.
Right.
Yes, you're totally right. Okay, and you had mentioned that last time, your concern for her safety because Jim Gordon is a police officer, and so if he did have this information and it did come out that he had this information, yeah, maybe they would seek him out or try to go after him or whatever, but it's a lot more high profile.
Yeah,
and
have the
risky.
Police force, to help him in a situation where, like, you know, if he was there and like called for backup, backup would come. Vicki doesn't have the ability to call for backup when she's about to be murdered.
Sure. I mean, I guess. I would assume if either of them get taken down, it would be an assassination style, and it would not be. No one would have time to do anything.
Yeah.
That would not. I assume unless Falcone like really wanted it to be like up close and personal because it was so specifically pointed at him that like his ego would be too much, and he would have to like get up close and personal, and, like see the light leave their eyes or whatever, like really dark shit you want to look at in that regard.
Yeah.
I think it would be quick and I mean, maybe even painless, but maybe Falcone would want it painful. But regardless, no matter who it was, Jim Gordon or Vicki Vale. Now, my point is, we're going to choose Jim Gordon then.
Yeah.
Totally fine. I would have chosen Vicki Vale.
Okay.
Because Jim Gordon is the cop that we can trust, but he is surrounded by cops that we cannot necessarily trust.
Right.
And if any of that information leaks out to anyone in the police force, Jim Gordon may not necessarily be a dead man. I mean, he could be. But, because again, at least in like movies and TV shows, cops could always pull the, oh, well, the next time you call for backup, maybe we're a little slower than usual.
Yeah.
Or something like that, which is really fucked up. But that is unfortunately sometimes how these things go, and how you make sure that good cops don't rat on bad cops, because the bad cops are like, well, I mean, you could die, and they're like, and it's like, we're not going to kill you, but if you run into any trouble, we're not going to be there to help you either.
Right.
So there could be that, but also, what's Jim Gordon going to do? Put it on his home computer? No, he's going to put it on the computers, because it's a drive.
Right.
So he's going to put it on the computers at the police station.
Right.
Who has access to those computers?
Everyone.
All the corrupt cops.
Yeah.
So, whereas Vicki Vale, yes, you are correct. Her life may very well be in danger, but once that information gets released to the public, you cannot unring that bell.
Right.
That information will always be out there in the public. Whereas to Jim Gordon, if it gets released to him, it could just be in his hands and then gone forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, again, I highly doubt the game's going to do that and be like, oh, you picked the wrong one. Nobody gets to see this information, right? Like, it's giving you two options, which means either one will send you in the right direction, because that's just how this game works. It just may not work out the way that you expect, but it may not work out the way I expect either. So
right.
I like and respect your choice. Just wanted people to be aware of what my choice would be and why as well.
Well, I mean, realistically speaking, if I was Bruce in this situation, I wouldn't pick one of them.
Yeah.
I would take the information to Vicki, and then I would talk to Gordon and tell him that it's incredibly imperative that Vicki
be protected.
Yes.
And he doesn't even have to...
And by himself or someone that he trusts to no end. That it can't possibly be anyone who is in any way corrupt.
That's an interesting point, because, I mean, he's the lieutenant. So he could just say to two beat cops, sit on Vicki Vale's house and not tell them why.
Right.
She needs to be protected. She needs a protection detail. Why? That's classified. Or something like that. Like, he doesn't have to tell them. But, yes, if and when it comes out that she releases an article with all this information or whatever, yes, Falcone could turn around and say to every police officer that he has in his pocket, get me Vicki Vale or take out Vicki Vale. And then if those two guys that are sitting on her house work for Falcone, they just walk in her house and kill her, and that's the end.
All right,
but,
exactly.
So, all right, fair enough. Well, then, so that we don't, make this part of the episode stretch on forever, let's go ahead and pick Jim Gordon.
Okay.
The cops are on the front lines of this war. Gordon needs this more than anyone.
A wise decision, sir. We'll attack Falcone on two fronts tonight. Gordon through the police, and Batman...
by any means necessary. Whatever Falcone is planning, it ends tonight.
He's a spider, Bruce. Eyes everywhere. A dense web of goons poised to trap you. No one has ever managed to bring him down.
I haven't tried yet.
This is a silver bullet. And it's gonna put Falcone down once and for all. I don't even want to know where you got this.
No, you don't.
Still, I gotta know one thing. Why give this to me? Don't get me wrong.
I trust you, you'll owe me, or take down Falcone.
Take
Everyone on
down
the force will
Falcone.
too.
This isn't about politics. Gotham is safer with Falcone off the streets.
It's a first step in the marathon to fix this city. You know, as much as I appreciate you calling me here, I gotta make one thing crystal. I can't be bought. So you should know this isn't gonna change a thing about the investigation of your family. The Waynes always support.
Everyone has a price, no strings attached, or my family
I'd like to
deserves
believe there's
justice.
no cloaks or daggers hidden in your
No
closet.
strings attached.
There are no strings attached. I just want Falcone gone.
Good.
You and me both. I'm tired of staring at his mugshot. I gotta go. Came straight from a crime scene. Haven't been home yet. Sometimes I think this whole city's a crime scene.
Pretty
We're
much.
just walking through it.
Is he gone? Oh, he's right
What
there.
you're holding will make walking it much safer.
Thanks, Bruce.
Well, Lieutenant,
Hey, stick to Jim.
It's funny when he was... Sorry, I paused it really quickly. When he was gone there, or like hiding behind him,
Right,
basically,
like weird.
I was like, that's Batman's thing. Like, whenever he and Jim Gordon are talking, like, he gets to a certain point in the conversation, he just disappears. Because, you know, he doesn't want him to see that he's leaving.
I'm behind you, Gordon.
Yeah, I am the knight. And just runs off. But I was like, when I first saw that he was gone, I was like, did he really just leave? I was like, all that's going to do is make Jim Gordon know that you're Batman, because no one fucking does that in a conversation. Just like disappears.
That's him answering his question. I don't even want to know where you got this from. No, you don't. I'm Batman.
Yeah, it just disappears. Yeah. So funny. So funny. Oh, man. All right. Sorry. I'll keep it going.
it's done.
Good. So is our hunt. The drones located Falcone downtown, a place called the Skyline Club. Although you're not dressed for that kind of party.
Well, I can always change in the car.
Yeah. Just take off all your clothes, put the cock ring on, walk
Oh,
inside.
my God. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Look above his head on the right there.
What does it say?
It says, ha ha.
Yeah.
That's like Joker stuff.
Oh, okay.
See, we could change in the car, or we could change the car.
Cars, the night.
Nice, yeah. Sure is. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's low profile.
Skyline Club, 9:19 p.m. Oh, now he's in the bat plane. Oh, no, it's just a hang glider type thing with his wings / cape.
The drone's cameras and scanning tech are fully functional.
All right. Let's find Falcone.
No, never mind.
All right, so we can maneuver the drone with the left stick, and the right stick moves the reticle. All right, so we can look at the balcony first.
Good point of entry.
Okay, we can't look at the dude smoking, or at least we don't care about the dude smoking. Can't go any further to the left, because I guess the building just doesn't go that way.
Oh.
We can look at the patrons.
Tell me another.
What's the difference between the Mafia and City Council?
I don't know. Aren't they the same thing?
Only one of them is organized.
Ooh. You're cute.
So, you alone?
Not anymore, I'm not.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Good for him. We can look at the patrons up here.
Where's Nikki? In lockup. Again? Christ, Kimmy. What did they pinch him for now? Some hit down at the docks. Nikki? No. I didn't think he was a hatchet man. You and me both. Well, does he got an alibi? Honey, I'm always his alibi.
Interesting.
Messed up. Okay. Oh. More patrons.
Make your round? Yeah, no broken bones. Still healing from the last time, I bet. All it took was a couple of C notes this time. Nice and easy. Nice and easy, my ass. I know you burned powder tonight. The whole city can smell it.
Okay, so he shot someone?
Okay.
Right? That's what that means, right? Like, I didn't think it was a drug reference. I think he shot and killed somebody. Okay, so we could look at the modern art.
Nothing here.
Thanks, Batman. Okay. and if
Or
we go
maybe
up-
it means the explosion.
Maybe, yeah. All right, so we can look at the office because there's guys up there. Oh, but we could look at the rose sigil.
The white rose. Falcone's symbol.
A red rose after tonight.
Because of blood. I get it.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at the office. Presumably, since it's the only thing left, presumably the thing we have to look at to progress the story.
Yeah.
That's the most heavily guarded door in the building.
Gotta be Falcone's hideout.
Well, it won't be as easy as ringing the doorbell.
4 armed guards. Stealth not an option. I'll put together a plan of attack. Stand by.
Okay. Examine the mobster.
Couple of options for taking this guy down.
Presumably pull him out the window. Furthest from entry point, impossible to surprise, will require. I've seen the word before, I promise. Strategic attack. Okay, so I can't link him to anything. It says link, but I can't. Okay, I can't link him to anything. What the fuck? Oh, to the art? I guess? Sure. Am I throwing it in his face?
That seems absurd.
Large, solid, cube-shaped piece made of ceramic and metal, and I'm just gonna hoist this thing and chuck it at this guy? That seems idiotic. Okay.
For sure.
Wow. Alright, is there any armed guards upstairs? It doesn't look like it. Now, obviously, we've got this guy out here. So what he said, 4 armed guards. There's the one on the balcony, the one we just looked at. This guy here, straight ahead. That's 3. Where's number 4? It's not that guy. Oh, it's this guy back here. All right, so let's look at him then. Oh, could we? Large wooden 3-paneled folding privacy screen appears to be heavy, very solidly constructed. So, I mean, if they let us slam him into it, that might be good.
Okay.
But if they're going to be like, you lift the coffee table and slam it into him, like, that is not very helpful. Seated, talking to a woman on the sofa, distracted and unprepared for action. Okay, so yeah, maybe we can slam him down onto the table.
Okay.
I don't know, like, do we, like, because we probably aren't going to be able to, like, hide behind this, which might be the only thing I can think of link-wise there. Because, like, how are we going to get to the screen? We're coming in from our left, his right.
Yeah.
So, like, we'd have to cross him to get behind the screen. So,
Right.
It's got to be this table.
Yeah.
There we go. I was like, what? Okay. Yeah. Slam his head into the table. Good. Called it. Okay. So that one I think will work.
Okay.
This one I don't think will work.
Yeah, that one seems dumb.
But there are two more guys. So we'll look at this dude first over here. The mobster. Entryway gunman. Close to entry point, strategically positioned, should be quickly neutralized. What the hell am I supposed to link you to? This marble pillar?
Just bash his head against the pillar.
Or the staircase? Large steel frame staircase from upper floor. Turns on a single landing. Or load-bearing structure is both impenetrable and immovable. Would it, like, so here's what I would think, right? Again, as always, we don't know what the game is going to say. But because there are visible gaps in these stairs, we could use our grapple gun, shoot him, and pull him into the stairs.
Okay.
Right? And it says, large steel frame staircase from upper floors. So, like, if you slam him into these stairs, he's not going to get up from that.
Okay.
And so you don't have to worry about him anymore. But like you said, you could also just push him into the marble pillar, but you'd have to get up to him and get hands on him for that. And
Sure.
you got to deal with the guy outside first. Mm-hmm. So, which...
I mean, you could, like... No, I guess you're right. Okay. Yeah, so the stairs.
All right.
You're right. That's a better option.
I mean, I hope that's what they are surmising to
Sure.
do. We'll see. Not exactly. If that's what we're going to do, then it's probably better to do the pillar. Because it's immovable. So, like, the stairs, it looks like he's going to break right through them. Which means it would cushion his fall a little bit more. Whereas if we slammed him into the marble pillar, that thing ain't moving.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. What do you think?
Can we just, like, see the scenario with the column and then choose?
Yeah,
or
probably.
No?
Yeah, because we can break this link at any time.
Oh, okay.
So then we examine it.
Any idea?
I've got
Yes.
it covered out.
Okay. So yes, we link him to the pillar and see what that shows. Okay. Yeah, I mean...
Basic.
Yep. Very.
I think the stairs are better. Because
Okay.
you could get caught in them.
Okay.
Whereas if we're just, like, holding him against this pillar, like, unless we knock him out, which very well could happen because of the pillar.
Yeah, yeah.
But if he doesn't get knocked out, he's not staying there.
Sure. Okay. I respect that.
But this looks like he's gonna get stuck
Fair.
in
Okay.
the stairs.
Yeah, or it'll get tangled up at least.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I
it's
like
harder
that.
for him to get out.
Sure. All right. Let's look at this mobster then. Balcony gunman. You could link him to the railing or the upper balcony.
Interesting.
So the upper balcony says offers direct access to main lobby and entry point, and the railing says presents an unexpected point of attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean balcony, right?
Yeah, it's got to be the
Yeah.
railing. You mean? Yeah, because you can come up from underneath it, just grab him and throw him over,
Right.
and then you're good to go.
Yeah, but I thought Batman didn't kill people.
Yeah, but he can attach a tether to him so that he's just hanging there.
Okay.
Yeah. See, so we kick him. He goes up against the oh, that's it. He just goes up against the railing. We don't throw him over the railing.
Again, Batman doesn't kill people.
I mean, sure, but again, like I said, I'm not proposing to kill him. You just like attach something to his belt or whatever, and then throw him over the edge and hook the belt around here, and he's not going to free climb up a metal wire to get back up here and bother you.
Why not?
And the cops can get him later. Yeah, why not? Because he's not fucking Superman. That's not this game.
It's Batman.
Oh.
Not Superman.
My mistake.
Why are you leaving? Clearly that was a bad choice.
Oh, so you want to do
the upper balcony.
Okay, upper balcony it is. Okay. Break the link. Link to the upper balcony. Okay. Oh, so we sneak down from the upper balcony and just, like, kind of choke him out.
Oh.
Cool. Okay. I like that.
Alright. Fine.
Do we want to try to fix this modern art issue over here?
Yeah.
See what the other one might have been, what the other, like, possible link could have been with this dude, because we only saw that option, and I didn't like it to begin with, so let's see what else we can do. Oh, this light.
Oh.
Heavy light fixture hanging from the ceiling, approximately 3 meters from the floor. Let's see what this looks like. Because this, if we could, like, shoot it down, that makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Yeah, we hide back there and batarang it down right onto him. Beautiful. Much better.
Yes.
Okay, so are we happy with everything?
Yeah.
I think so, too. How do I confirm all of this now? That's 4 guys. 1, 2... All the links have been created, right? Oh, did we not? It's showing that we might not have done this guy. Okay, I could have sworn we linked him to the table.
Yeah.
But apparently we didn't, so there you go. Okay. Yep. Okay, that's everything.
Okay.
Bruce, have you formulated your plan of attack?
I'm going in.
I'm going in.
Very good, sir.
Here we go.
Your turn to crash his party.
Do I have to do all these button pushes now to make it actually work, even though I planned it all already? Sure do.
No, I guess he doesn't get stuck.
No, but he's not conscious. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that guy's screwed. Nice. Oh, God. Hit it, please. Oh, no, I missed. Oh, okay, well. Thanks, I guess.
This is awesome.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button, but it kind of worked. Nope, there we go. Got there.
That
Got
guy
him.
just looks exactly the same as that guy.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job of, like, variance in their animation of the goons.
It's his twin.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Wow, Falcone.
You got no goddamn right. I want
The hell? He pulled enough of the floor down that he could just jump up there. It's just that easy. Nice. Oh, I was like, do I press a button? Got there. There go all your electronics.
You think that's gonna work?
Yeah.
I'm gonna light up. Get your goddamn hands off of my suit!
What? That's what you're concerned about, dude?
Stay down, Falcone. We can end this now.
You got a lot to learn, kid.
Oh, shit.
What the fuck?
Oh, God, run!
A Gatling gun
Ah!
in his
Ah!
ceiling?
That's amazing.
What the fuck?
Press A and right trigger to use our finishing blow.
Explosives armed. Fire when ready.
Wow. Thanks, drone.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Throw the gun, not at him.
Huh.
Keep him intact so they don't say, "You've lost, Falcone, don't make me hurt you," or talk.
Talk.
Answers now.
You would. All right.
The chemicals. Where are they?
What?
I found your calling card at the docks. The White Rose.
You think I wanted to lead you here? Yeah, something reeks about this whole thing.
He's being
And another
framed.
dead bat.
I guess so.
Put him down.
I can't.
Still want to play games?
We're all being played here, including you. Those chemicals you're so riled up about, they're mine, all right? But someone is trying to cut me out of the deal because I did not make that mess at the docks.
Then who did?
No, we're done. Gotham's watching now.
Yeah. This is a news chopper. Or a police chopper, I guess, but let's
Go
find out.
ahead. Give him a show. I'll be
Brutalize him
by tomorrow morning.
or arrest him.
Arrest him.
I knew that's what you'd say, but I still wanted to give you the option. Gotham will hear of this.
Spill it, Falcone, while you still can.
It's the Waynes. They're behind all this.
What do you mean?
You want to save this city? Well, the Waynes are the biggest gangsters in Gotham.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
Nice. He's gone already.
Thanks for the assist.
Oh, okay, I guess not.
Now we only have to take one of you down. Open fire!
I'm sorry. I mean, I know this isn't technically America, right? We completed chapter 5, by the way, of episode 1, Room with a View. But you walked in the
Guess
room.
there's so much of the building missing.
Yeah. But you walked into the room, and he was standing there with no weapons in hand. I mean, arguably his whole suit's full of weapons, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, he has a Gatling gun in the ceiling of
No,
his office.
I'm talking about Batman.
Oh, okay.
These cops walk in the room, and Batman is standing there having subdued someone. He
Right.
tied him up and hung him up on a piece of rebar.
Right.
And your first response is to start shooting at him.
Right.
Now, it could be that they are definitively the corrupt cops, and so they're just there to save Falcone, and it doesn't matter that, justice wouldn't be served by just murdering Batman in the
Right.
middle of this house. Like, he had no weapons on him. He wasn't hurting Falcone anymore. Sure, it's likely that he caused all that destruction, but you didn't see any of that happen.
Right.
So,
Super
again,
fucked.
the laws are probably different because, just because I understand some U.S. laws doesn't mean that that's the laws that Gotham operates under, this fictional place. But still, what the hell? Just walk into a room, you're like, good, now we only have to deal with one of you, and just start firing openly at this person. Which also, I don't care
on camera from the chopper.
Well, again, that may have been a police chopper, because we didn't see that it was a news chopper. I wasn't sure which one it was. But, because it may have just been directing the cops on the ground, like, where to go. Like, hey, we see him, he's right there. But also, I don't care how good of a shot you are. You don't fire like that as 3 people standing in a line at Batman while he's, 2 feet away from Falcone?
Yeah.
Especially because Batman's wearing body armor.
Right.
What happens when a bullet hits that body armor? It doesn't just fall harmlessly to the ground like a feather. It ricochets off in random directions.
Exactly. So it can hit Falcone, it can hit you.
Right. And like I said, maybe if they're the true and real cops...
Try to hit the chopper.
Yeah. Maybe if they're the true and real cops, they actually don't care if it hits Falcone, but also that shouldn't be the goal.
Right.
And if they are the corrupt cops, like, it makes more sense that they are, for the fact that they just opened fire on Batman immediately. They still wouldn't want to hit Falcone. That's the opposite of what you would want.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Anyway, let's go to chapter 6, shall we?
Let's go.
Be seen from street level. Tonight, the Skyline Club, a high-rise mafia hangout in downtown Gotham, was the arena for a clash between the notorious Batman and alleged mob boss Carmine Falcone, who was found dangling over a 50-story drop. Bet Falcone loved that view. Though I'd say the crime boss getting his is well overdue, Falcone has slipped through the law's grasp for years. But after this dramatic arrest and evidence released by the GCPD's Lieutenant Gordon, Falcone's going away for a long, long time.
Wow, it's just over already.
Speaking of newly uncovered criminal dealings, this brings me to the story everyone is talking about. The Wayne family. For generations, the big W on the Wayne Enterprises tower was a reassuring sight. You knew that there was something pure at the heart of Gotham. That this city, for all its faults, was built by good people. But with Thomas and Martha's shining reputation called into question, we no longer have such assurances. And even worse, it seems the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. Gotham's greatest son, Bruce Wayne, seen here shaking hands with Carmine Falcone, may be just as crooked as his parents. Wayne even refused to go on record when asked to defend his family's legacy. In a world where the Waynes, our golden family, are corrupt, who are we left with? Who can Gothamites look up to? The supposed hero Batman? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, we'll keep digging for the truth. But the prominent feeling throughout Gotham is that the Waynes' time in the sun is ending.
First of all, I'd like to say I genuinely don't know why it asked me to press the A button. There was literally no reason for me to do that. And it seemed like immediately after I did, the subtitles, when it was on the screen with his face, were gone. And I did not do that. So I do apologize for folks that did not then get to know what he was saying in those moments. Hopefully the audio captured it well enough. But regardless, that was BS. There's a whole reason why you have a setting for subtitles. If someone's talking and it's the main focus of the scene, you should be able to see with those subtitles of what they're saying. That was real dumb. So again, I apologize. I also don't understand why pressing the A button was a thing that I needed to do, but I sure did do it.
So that they could get rid of your subtitles for you that you definitely didn't want to have.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That's what that button was. A quick time event to get rid of subtitles. Gotcha.
Fuck you too, game. Fuck you too.
Jesus, dude. It's gotta be hell on your tires.
The suit, the car, this entire cave.
Master Bruce?
Everything I built. I created all of this because I didn't want any more innocent people to die. If Falcone's telling the truth about my parents, then what the hell did we do this for?
Bruce,
What have you been hiding from me?
Oof.
Alfred!
Oh,
You
shit.
need to take it down a notch, bro.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
That's not okay.
Episode 1, Realm of Shadows, Family Secrets, complete Chapter 6 of Episode 1. Did you stick up for Harvey in front of Falcone? You and 67.1% of players defied Falcone by inviting Harvey into the private meeting.
Good. Good.
Did you provide a quote for Vicky's story? You and 14.6% of players chose a press blackout, refusing Vicky's request for a quote. You were in the massive minority there.
Again, I wanted to give her a quote. I just needed more information before I could do that.
Yes, and you said that, and I...
that option didn't exist there. It was yes or no.
Yeah,
and so it was like, oh, well, let's just snub Vicky here. And it's like, no, that's not what I was trying to do.
No, you're right. And I said at the time, and it's still true, I fully agree with you. I really do see the point, because you don't want to talk out of your ass. Like, you're gonna get embarrassed if you do. That's what's gonna happen, is that, like, you're gonna say one thing that's wrong because you really believe it, and it's gonna get shoved back at you later on when they have the opportunity to, like, go into the data and be like, well, Bruce said that it never could have possibly happened ever, and he was never aware of it. But there's this one memo that he was copied on one time 10 years ago that he deleted as soon as it came across his inbox that talked about something that he could have insinuated. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like getting it twisted around or whatever.
I mean, you say you're gonna be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm much more worried about legal ramifications of some kind.
Sure, or caught in a quote-unquote lie. Or
because we cannot escape some affiliation that we have to the blood money that our parents gave us. You know, like, so we can say no, 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 and then all of a sudden, like, we end up having to go down. And I'd rather just do the detective work, figure out what's actually going on here, and then make a statement.
You told him to take it down a notch here at the end, but I mean, wouldn't you be furious too? That picture was there and was very unlikely to have been photoshopped because it's an old freaking picture, and that Alfred is in.
I understand.
And so Alfred looked scared, but not because he's afraid that Bruce is going to hurt him, but because he doesn't want to have to tell him about this. He doesn't want to have to ruin the image that this, I mean, I would say young man. He's not necessarily a young man anymore, but Alfred's known him since he was a boy, a child, a baby.
Yes, but he's not anymore.
Correct. But Alfred doesn't want to ruin Bruce's image of his parents because of what happened to his parents, and unfortunately, because of the way that the Batman story works, the, like, stunting of him that occurred because of it.
I understand, but all of that is irrelevant. He needs to take it down a notch because he is not a child that Alfred has taken care of his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
He is an adult, and not just any adult, he's Batman.
Yeah.
Which means he's capable of killing Alfred, is really what that means.
Well, yes, but he, again, I don't think he would ever do that. I think he has enough, because he wants answers, right? So he wants to know these things, but also, it's like, what have I been doing? I've been gathering together all this information to take down Falcone, and I've been vehemently denying my family's connection to him, and yet you knew the answer.
Yeah.
Or some of the, like, you know, it may not be all of it,
Again,
but some of it.
I would be angry too. All I'm saying is that he needs to realize that he is in a position that could be... He can't be that angry at Alfred because, like I said, he's Batman. He's capable of killing Alfred here. And it is it's not okay for him to be exerting that much dominance over him in that moment.
I don't disagree with you, but I will say there is a difference between being angry, even that level of angry, and being unable to control yourself.
The whole point of 2 scenes ago in this game is that Alfred is seeing how hard it is for him to control himself when he's angry. So I'm thinking about how frightened Alfred would be in that situation. And I think that as someone who cares for Alfred, he should have some semblance of that.
Okay.
In this moment. He needs to be a little bit more cognizant of the fact that Alfred could be absolutely terrified of him in that moment.
And he did look it based on his face, but I don't know, right? Because I read that facial expression as fear of being found out, not fear of being physically injured by Bruce.
I'm sorry, I cannot agree with you.
And that's perfectly fine. We can absolutely disagree on that. I'm just telling you how I saw it. I'm not saying you're wrong, it's this. I'm saying that's how I interpreted how it looked. That's all.
I heard his voice in that moment. I saw the look on his face in that moment.
Sure.
And Alfred, I can't say that I know what Alfred was necessarily thinking in that moment.
Sure.
But I can say, as an onlooker of the scene, that I know how I would interpret that situation.
For sure.
Is that if I were Alfred, I would think I was dead.
Sure. Yeah, fear for your life. See, okay. And again, that's another point where you and I differ, but again, that's not me, like, disagreeing with you. I get where you're coming from. I wouldn't have been, because of my understanding of Alfred and Bruce's relationship, as well as the way that Bruce was reacting there. That looked more to me like hurt and fury than like homicidal rage. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, again, how I interpreted it. But I'm
sorry, but
No,
as someone with trauma in my past, I cannot agree with you.
And that's perfectly fair. And
hurt and fury is the catalyst to homicidal rage.
Okay. And again, I appreciate that perspective because I don't have that. So to hear that from you is extremely important. And not necessarily immediately going off of that, but to folks out there as well. Do you agree? Do you disagree? As with anything that we talk about in really any episode that we ever make, but you know, in this, especially if we're having these types of discussions, what do you think? Whether you've played this game before or not, whether this is the first time you're seeing it or not, what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. Keep that conversation going for sure.
Yes.
Do we want to say more on that topic, or we want to go to the next step?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
Did you break the Doc's shooter's arm? We and 51.3% of players showed mercy in our interrogation of the Doc's shooter.
Okay.
So we were in the majority, but only by a little bit.
Oof.
But remember, Alfred said you put that man in the hospital, which we did not do.
Right.
Because we did not hurt him, which is why you were so surprised in the last episode, of course. But you were so surprised that Alfred said that because you were like, we didn't put him in the, like, we didn't beat him at all.
Glitch out. They didn't do 2 separate reactions for this, I guess.
Right.
Which is stupid.
It is, yeah.
But I guess it's not that stupid because, I mean, look at those percentages. They're so fucking close.
Very close. And yet you, in my opinion, and again, my understanding of the character of Batman and your understanding from what you've said, he doesn't need to. The whole point of him dressing the way he does, having his voice changer change his voice the way it does, he is intimidating. He uses fear to get what he wants.
Right.
Fear of him doing those things, but he never actually has to, and that's the point. You don't do it of like, well, I'm bigger and stronger and more powerful than you, so I'm going to break your arm. It's, I could break your arm, so you're going to tell me what I want to know, and they're going to be all afraid and give him what he wants, which they did.
Right.
This guy did, in this instance, do just that.
And that's why he can't be like that towards Alfred. Because then Alfred might as well be this guy.
Yeah, and maybe that is what Bruce is leaning into, because that's what he knows. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to speak to Alfred, despite what happened there, right? If you're going to speak to Alfred in such a way where you're going to intimidate him into being afraid for his life,
yep,
whether or not you actually plan on killing him,
yeah,
isn't the big deal there. The big deal there is that you have the gall to do that.
Also, it's kind of ironic to me. I mean, again, world's greatest detective moniker and all that. Detectives, police officers, when they are interrogating people, if they were permitted still or in general to use these types of tactics, right?
Right.
If you don't tell me what I want to hear or want to know, I'm going to break your arm. All that's going to happen statistically is that more often than not, people are just going to say whatever they think you want to hear,
right,
so that you won't hurt them. Does that mean you're going to actually get the truth? No. They're just going to say to you what they think you want to hear. Now, in this type of a game, and with detectives in general, the idea is that they're going to come into the scenario knowing more than you think they do.
Yeah.
And so if you tell them something that doesn't match up with the data that they have, they're going to presumably know that you're lying, or at least know that you're omitting something or whatever, so that they know to push further. The issue is, again, if you're threatening someone's safety, livelihood, health, etc., they're more likely to panic and lie.
Yeah.
Or just, like, they could...
Yeah, I did it. Right. Does that mean I can go?
Right.
Like...
And that's if they're innocent, especially. Right? But if they're guilty, yeah, I guess arguably they are more likely to just spill the beans, because it's like, okay, fine, you caught me, please don't hurt me.
Right.
Here's all the information you need to know. But when cops interrogate people, they're not always interrogating a guilty party.
Right.
And again, obviously, all people, again, here in the United States, all people are innocent until proven guilty, but you know what I mean. Like, that whether they actually committed the crime that the cops are interrogating them for, or have information that they're interrogating them about. If they don't, they're going to make something up. And that either could put that person in jail, or lead you in the wrong direction as a police officer, following your case building and your investigating.
So it's significantly worse.
Right, because then you're missing out on actual leads that you could be going and getting. And that's, again,
you're missing out on actual leads that you could be going and getting, and you're potentially putting this person in prison when they don't deserve to be there.
Correct, which is illegal, unethical, like, massively screwed up. There's a much longer discussion to have there, but we'll bring it back to Batman instead, if that's okay.
Yeah.
But to say that, like, Batman doing this, it's the same thing. Now, he's doing it as a vigilante, so he can follow up on what is being said. But again, he went into this interrogation with this shooter, having analyzed the crime scene in a million different ways, with all of his gadgets and stuff. So he knows the one question he wants to ask, or the one answer that he wants, or whatever. And so he asks the shooter about it and puts the pressure on. Whereas if the shooter's like, oh, well, it was Catwoman. It's like, no, it obviously wasn't Catwoman. Don't lie to me. That kind of thing. So he's going into it with more information, so hopefully would not get either the false confession or whatever. Plus the fact that, I mean, this guy was in the building with the gun, with the body armor, dressed the same as the other dead guys around him. So, like, was he an innocent bystander? Like, very, like, 1% chance, like, so anyway, that's,
regardless.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how that one went. Let's go to the next one. Who did you give the Falcone data to? You and 72.4% of players gave the Falcone data to Lieutenant Gordon instead of making the information public through Vicki Vale. I would have been in the massive minority there.
Dude,
one quarter.
It's the fucking mob. You can't just give that information to the public. People will die.
And like I said, from now seeing the scene, Bruce gave it, or Batman gave it to him. No, it was Bruce. Bruce gave it to him as printed out pieces of paper.
Right.
Which obviously means Bruce had copies and etc. and like whatever. But I anticipated he would give him
Bruce
the drive.
Probably went to Kinko's and Xeroxed it.
Yes, billionaire Bruce Wayne was just like sauntered into Kinko's in his like 3-piece suit. It was like, excuse me, could you print this for me? It's like, what is this? Oh, don't worry about it. Just plug it into your system. I'm sure nobody will be able to trace that it was used here.
just a copy of it on the Kinko's fucking machine.
Incredible.
Love that.
But yeah, apparently 1/4 to 3/4, basically.
Yeah.
Give or take, obviously. But okay. I mean, good for you. Like I said, I would have gone a different way, but I respect this choice. So very nicely done.
That makes me feel better about it, because I was really debating that one.
You were.
It was hard.
Yeah, you really were. And I mean, you know, a little look behind the curtain, like it was a couple days in between the filming of the last episode and this one, like, and you on and off. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, you were like losing sleep over it or anything, but like on and off on occasion when we would talk about it, you'd be like, oh shit, right, what am I gonna do? You know, like.
Yeah, I was thinking hard about this one. I was changing my mind multiple times.
Yep.
And I really didn't make this decision until 5 seconds before we started filming.
That's
literally
true.
like
That's true.
I was still on the fence when we sat down to record this episode.
Yeah. And honestly, again, obviously, the Telltale does an incredible job of this. Both choices had their merits.
Of course.
Both did. And so you made a great choice, and you made the choice that the majority of people made, which, again, there obviously is no right and wrong, but like, that doesn't mean it was the right choice. It doesn't mean it was the wrong choice, because that's not a thing. So,
but yeah, I mean, the sheer fact that so many people picked this one makes me feel better about this having been my choice.
Yeah, which is great.
But again, just because if I was doing this myself, I would tell them both. I would give the information to Vicki, and have her, publicly announce it. Right. But maybe without her name on it, with some level of, anonymous.
Okay. Sure. I mean, it would be more credible coming from a credible source like herself / her newspaper, right? As opposed to just
it would
anonymously.
be her newspaper, but they wouldn't say like who.
Yeah.
And then, have a detail for her for sure. But the issue with that is that who do you trust to be her detail?
Correct.
And that's the clincher for me. I can't kill Vicki just because I want this information publicized.
Yeah, especially because whether you gave her that interview or not, she still said to Bruce, I'm on your side and I care about your family's image, basically. And so she is one of your supporters in this situation that you now are going to be really going into.
Right.
So, yeah.
If she had been a bitch from day one or something like that, it still would have been extremely difficult for me to say it's so much more important for this information to go public than her life is.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Like, a human life is more important than anything.
Yeah, that's totally correct. I mean, and obviously the kind of the weighing factor there is like, how many lives would you save by releasing it? But because there is this, like, still very good alternative, you don't have to make that distinction because you can just say, no, I can just give it to Gordon and then we're fine. Right. Instead of like, give it to her or no one, which then you would give it to her because...
The people's whose job it is to fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're a vigilante, but, you could step away from it for just a second and give it to the people who are supposed to be doing this.
Well, but notice what happened. Bruce gave it to him, not Batman.
Right.
And that's a big deal in my opinion too.
Right. It is.
Because it could be different coming from Batman. How did you obtain this? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, and Gordon said, I don't want to know, but, you know, any of that data that you're using, I mean, I guess if it's just information, right? If you're saying, like, okay, these illegal items are in these storage units or whatever that are owned by Falcone, and there's a paper trail back to Falcone or a shell company or whatever, then the fact that you got that information from this drive or this information that was given to you is not what's called fruit of the poisonous tree, because you're following up on a lead that was given to you by a confidential informant.
Sure.
Right? And when you find that lead and you do that police work, right, you can get a warrant for it and like I said, then trace the financials back or whatever to whoever owns that storage unit or whoever purchased the guns or whatever items it is, right, to then lead it back to Falcone and his organization. Because fruit of the poisonous tree, for folks who may be unaware, I don't want to just like throw terms around. If as a law enforcement official, if you enter into a place that you do not have a legal right to be, if you illegally search someone that you did not have a right to search, and you find illegal items or proof of illegal activity, and then you try to use that evidence in court, any attorney worth their salt is going to say that it is fruit of the poisonous tree because it was obtained illegally, which means it cannot now be used in court to convict you of the crime that this may or may not prove that you have committed.
Sure.
And so again, if it points you in a direction, you can follow that thread legally.
Right.
To then try to find evidence. But you can't use what Bruce gave you from that drive as the evidence itself.
Interesting. Okay.
Unless because you would need what's called a chain of custody. If the mayor built up that drive himself, you would then have to follow that thread. Well, it was in the mayor's office. Then what happened to it? Well, it was stolen.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so now you don't know what's happened to that information.
Correct.
It could all be wrong now.
Yes, it could have been doctored.
Right, they
You're
could have
right.
gone in and changed it all.
You're
It was Falcone when really it was them.
Correct.
And they just swapped it to Falcone, to
Yep.
frame him. And now we know after speaking to Falcone that he is being framed.
Yes, and he's claiming it's the Waynes, but yes.
I think he just doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, it's either that he doesn't know who it is, or that he still has an in with them and doesn't want to give them up, and is still just trying to bury the Waynes.
Yeah.
And that picture was from a relatively innocuous meeting.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
And maybe before Falcone mentioned any proposal of illegal activity where the Waynes were like, get the hell out of our house.
Right.
And that picture was taken prior to that happening, where it was like, oh, this is Carmine Falcone, a great man in Gotham, man about town in Gotham, a philanthropist, etc. Let's have dinner with him, or he wants to come over for dinner. And then, you take that picture before then proposing criminal activity and getting kicked out. So, in fact, speaking of Falcone, did you see when I switched? How did Batman deal with Falcone at the end? You and 82% of players showed restraint and handed Falcone over to the police, safe and sound.
Nice.
So 18% of players brutalized him. Now, don't forget, because I think about this sometimes too. You could go through this game kind of playing the foil on purpose.
Sure.
And so some part of that percentage could just be people playing through it a second time and saying, well, this time I'm going to brutalize Falcone and see what happens.
Right.
I am going to break that guy's arm and see what happens. You know? And see how that changes either Bruce's misdemeanor or not misdemeanor, demeanor, or, sorry, I have criminal law on the brain. How it changes...
Really? Why?
How it changes Bruce's demeanor over the course of the game, and or how people treat him over the course of the game, right? Because we already saw Alfred's reaction, despite the fact that we didn't do anything. And so...
Yeah, in fact, because of the fact that that percentage is gonna be skewed by people who do that.
Yeah.
I'm like now really intrigued to see what would happen if we had chosen that. And I feel like if it counts all the people who are just doing that, that should be a higher percentage.
You would think so, yeah. I don't know how the percentage works. Like, if it's your second playthrough, does it only count the first thing you did? You know,
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
But again, it's going to show you here in this moment when you go through that playthrough the second time, you and 18% of players showed restraint or whatever.
Right.
So it's interesting for sure. And again, as with, we don't
Didn't
typically
show restraint. Sorry.
Yeah. This is a game that we now own, right? So we don't typically do this with our games, and I'm not even necessarily saying we aren't, whatever. I'm just saying we've talked about this before, but with games like this where you have that option to make those different choices, you are always, rightfully so, because that's what we're trying to do here, you're always making the choice that makes the most sense to you, either in Life is Strange or those types of games, or Walking Dead Telltale. You're making the choice that you think is the most morally correct, or like the safest, or the most humane, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas in this type of game, you're doing it because you know kind of Batman's personality or Bruce's personality. You might even be leaning towards doing it the way you think Batman would do it, right?
Right.
Batman doesn't kill. And so even if you think it would have been, or thought it would have been more beneficial to break the guy's arm to get the information, not saying you would, but Batman wouldn't. So even if you thought that made sense, you wanted to go with the way the Batman
You're
did.
playing this as Batman. Sure,
Right.
sure. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are doing that.
Right.
Instead of playing it as them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right. Because you're like, if I were in this position, it's
Right.
like, I would never be in this position. So
And that's like why I said, like, oh, well, we're picking Gordon here, but if it was me,
Yeah.
I would do this.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, actually both,
Yeah.
right? Like
Sure.
one and then the other, you know?
Yeah,
like,
which makes perfect sense as well.
yeah,
It sure does.
yeah.
Yeah. Next one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, the one that was the largest percentage that you were a part of was showing restraint in handing Falcone over.
Yeah.
Followed by choosing Lieutenant Gordon, which were, I mean, that was your, like you said, your toughest choice. And you were still in the, like, almost super majority, basically. And the only one that you were in the minority on was a big minority.
Yeah.
But it was in refusing Vicky's request for a quote. And actually, interestingly, that is the biggest differential on here.
Right.
Is the quote one. And you were in the minority on that one only.
Right.
Everything else, you were in the majority with everyone else.
Right.
And like I said, that one was the smallest minority and you were a part of it.
Right.
So interesting to me.
Yeah.
So interesting. Wow.
I'm curious what that quote is. Like what,
Sure.
you know, like I have to know what quote he made.
Sure.
That was fucking general enough that it would have made sense for him to fucking make a quote then.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I feel like it doesn't make any damn sense.
I don't blame you. Because like I said, I fully agree with you. You don't want to get caught up with, or caught with your pants down by saying something in the moment when you're that emotional, because you and your dead family members whom you love and who were tragically killed are now being, in your opinion, lied about in the public.
Right, dragged through the mud.
Right. And now a reporter, granted, who is giving you...
they were like brutally murdered in the street in front of you as a child.
Yep.
And now they're
the ultimate trauma.
Right. And now it's the ultimate disrespect of them.
Yeah.
Because their reputations are being, dragged through the mud.
Right. And yet a reporter who, granted, is truly, seemingly, right, I mean, she could be lying, but it seems to be truly telling you that she is on your side and cares about you, your family, and their legacy.
Right.
Do you want to make a statement? You are still in the most raw and emotional of a state at that point.
Yeah.
Because you've just found out this information, and as your Batman side, right, in that moment you're Bruce, but as your Batman side, you are trying to figure out, like, I need to get down into my cave to try to investigate this, to prove, like, to write my family's name. You know what I mean? Like, and give my family justice and take down the people who are lying like this about me and them. And yeah, so I agree with you. I wouldn't want to be, especially as that public of a figure, right. I wouldn't want to be, like, have my statement taken in that moment either. Right. I'd be way too emotional.
Way too emotional and way too underinformed.
Yes.
About any of the situations that are feeding into this possible lie.
Yeah. And not for nothing.
It's really sweet to believe that it's a lie, but you need to do your research and figure it out.
For sure.
You know, your parents were very important people to a city that is very corrupt.
Yes. Very public figures.
So you have to assume that there is a possibility that even if they were unaware of supporting somebody corrupt, they were probably doing it.
Yeah.
Because they were surrounded by corrupt people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, making a statement then did not make any sense. But, obviously, I wouldn't have addressed Vicki in that way. I would have said to her, thank you so much for caring so much.
Right.
And I'll get back to you when I know more.
Yeah.
When I feel like making a quote makes sense.
Yeah.
I just don't know what's going on, and I need more time, and I need more knowledge, and I need more just, like, ability to come up with something that is not going to wind up kicking me in the ass later.
And that in and of itself would have been a statement that she could have, instead of no comment, this is what he had to say. It's entirely too premature for me to comment on this right now. Obviously, investigations need to be done because this information is important. And if this is a lie about me, we need to find out who has made that lie and bring them to justice, or whatever. Like, that's the kind of thing.
Don't say about me, right? He, in that scenario, he would obviously take the side of saying how important it is that these were the actions of his parents, not himself, right?
Sort of. I mean, obviously they kept saying the Waynes, the Waynes, the Waynes.
Exactly.
Of which he is one, and Wayne Enterprises, which he owns.
Yes, but he was a child when the potential criminal activity occurred.
You're totally right.
So, there's a large portion of that criminal activity that he's not going to be privy to.
Yes.
Even if they're dumb enough as parents to make him privy to some of it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a large amount of it that he's not privy to.
Yeah.
And then as he gets older and inherits the fortune, there's a possibility that he could be at that point informed of all of it. And there's quite a possibility still that he could be just as in the dark about it.
Sure.
Or any variation in between,
You're totally
there's,
right.
So them saying his parents were corrupt when he was a child, is not a statement about him as a person.
Sure.
And I think it's really important that those distinctions be made. Just because you're in a family that has, allegations thrown their way does not mean that you as someone who was potentially young at the time, or maybe not even around as much if you weren't young, should be lumped in with that.
Sure.
It's not an accurate depiction of the truth, or of, what could be the truth, I guess I should say.
Sure, yeah. And it's just very interesting to me because your points are, I fully agree with you. And yet over 85% of the players that played this game either, didn't think of that or disagree with you. Right? Because obviously we don't know what they were thinking when they chose it. But
there's the third option of I want to be able to make a statement here. I want to be able to help out Vicki when she clearly wants to help me out. But again, if you're not in the best position to do that, why would you do it then?
Yeah,
you
I
know?
agree with you. Like I said, I fully understand.
So that might have been, again, a product of the game, right? Where people would be in the situation going, oh, okay, well, I guess this is the moment that the game is going to allow me to do it.
Right.
So if I want to do it, I need to do it now.
Right.
Because they have more cognizance of that process than I maybe do, as someone who, for the purposes of this channel, is someone who hasn't been exposed to video games anywhere near to the same extent that they have.
Sure.
You know, so they might be aware, like, oh, if it's asking me this here, it's because it's not going to ask me later.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm just sitting here as a person going like, well, what would my decision be? Well, if I made a statement, I don't know what the fuck it would be.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would tell her.
Yeah.
And so because I don't, as myself, know what I would tell her in that moment, I would have to tell her no.
Sure. Yeah, and some people may have like, or, you know, it may be, or you talked about what could that quote be. It may have been like a very bombastic, like, amazing speech and monologue and whatever, where you get to hear Troy Baker like really ham it up as Bruce and like, you know, and like really put it all out there and like, you know, this is not who my family is and we will fight back against people who are making up these lies and it will be proven wrong. And, you know,
really
have this
motivate the public.
Yes, have this big rah-rah moment where, as Vicki said, you get to step out in front of it and nip it in the bud and reinstill that confidence in yourself, in your family name, etc.
Right.
But like I said, your point is you are looking at it from so much more of a practical standpoint than, oh, I want to hear Bruce make like a big cool speech. It's it's not about making a big cool speech. It's about you could get so effed over if you say the wrong thing. And you're very emotional right now, and you're very uninformed right now.
Right.
So you're gonna say something stupid. And not for nothing, right? Blah, blah, blah. World's greatest detective. He's very smart. Rich and or famous people have PR teams to decide how they, like, what statements they make during crises for a reason.
Exactly.
Because that is a learned skill that he does not have because he has not had to deal with this before. Because if it was about Batman, he just runs away. Right?
Yeah,
if it,
exactly.
you know, as Batman, he just runs away and he doesn't have to deal with it.
He disappears into the night. Into the shadows.
And if it's about Bruce, it's likely about the company as well. And so he just retreats to the company and says, like, you know, please speak to our PR. You know, like there's literally like, I have people for that. I'm rich. So anyway, so it is likely going to be the end of this episode, but here is one thing that we have to do, as you can see down below. Continue to next time on.
Oh.
Ready?
Yes.
We'll find out what's in
When
chapter
your
2.
parents died, they left me as caretaker of their estate, their son, and their secrets. I would never betray them.
Oh, that's it? Oh. That's... okay. I was ready for like this big trailer of like...
Your parents were good people, Bruce. No matter what that thug Falcone told you.
Then swear to me there's no truth to it.
Okay.
The evidence you brought me on Falcone held up. Maybe I misjudged you.
Now Batman's beating up mobsters too. Wonder who he's after next.
He didn't beat anybody up. Well, he did a little bit.
Oz.
Bruce, the Wayne name is toxic. I have to do what's best for my campaign. What's best for God.
Oh.
I have to distance myself.
Make out.
I will find the truth. Along with anyone who stands in my way.
What along with anyone who stands in his way?
He said, I'll find the truth. Along with anyone who stands in my way, which I think is very funny. You won't have to find anyone who stands in your way. They'll be in your way.
Exactly. So that's why I was like, what's the thing you're talking about here?
So
I was like, did it like erase part of what he said there? Like,
maybe.
What are you gonna do to people who are in your way?
So
Find them in your way? Okay.
starting next
Tricky one. Oh no. It's hard to find them.
Starting next week, we will be starting, as you can see, episode 2, Children of Arkham.
Okay.
An old friend becomes a new adversary as Bruce learns more about the Wayne family legacy, and Batman escalates the fight against crime and corruption throughout Gotham.
Awesome.
Like I said, that will be starting next time. It is not today, because that is going to be the end of this particular episode. Thank you all so very much for joining us.
Yes.
There is a lot to discuss on this one, and we would love, as I said earlier, I meant it, and there was a lot more talked about after that. There is a lot to discuss, and we would love, love, love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you agree with Amy's choices? Especially that minority one, the 14-something.6% or whatever it was. We'd love to hear your thoughts on literally anything and everything that we talked about.
Yeah, I really want to know what you guys think about that one. I really do.
Yeah. Do you agree with Amy's point? Do you disagree? Like, why? Why would... If you would have been in that majority, 85+%, why? What would you have wanted? And, you know, you could say, well, because he says these things and they're great, but that's not a reason to pick it, because you don't know what he was going to say. That's the whole point.
Right.
So if you did pick it and you know what speech he would have made or whatever, like, again, that's a little bit spoilery, and so that's kind of your choice whether or not you want to put that in there. I would say maybe don't. I doubt we will go through this game again, but we own it. It is definitely a possibility, and if it's something that you all want to see, we can at least, you know, put it on our radar or something.
Right.
But to, like I said, to go through kind of in the opposite route and see where that all takes us. But that will not be like immediately after this or anything. We're gonna play through this game, and we're gonna see what happens. But I'd still love to hear any and all thoughts that folks have in the comments down below. What did you think of all of episode 1? Because
it's very cool,
right?
I'm surprised so much happened in episode 1.
Me too, especially because there's 5 episodes.
Holy fuck. I don't know if I can take it.
Yeah, exactly. Good.
It's just like...
Good. That's the sign of a good game.
She couldn't handle the truth.
That's the sign of a good game.
Yeah.
Right? So many things going on all at once. And they proved me wrong. That was a full-ass trailer. So... Thank you, game. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It just seemed like that one scene with Alfred, like,
right,
I won't betray them, and there was just a cut, and I was like, what? What kind of a trailer was that? So, yeah.
There's always a bad cut.
Well, it was that, but then it cut to, like, the logo, the game logo, because it's like, next time on Batman, you know, the Telltale series, or something like that. So guess what, everybody?
Same bad time, same bad channel.
There you go. It's actually a YouTube channel. Anyway, yes, you're totally right. In fact, speaking of our YouTube channel, if you want to find out exactly when our next video comes out next week, please make sure that you are subscribed and you have that bell rung. It will give you notifications whenever any of our videos come out on this channel or our other channels. I'll get to that in a second. As well as the fact that you will find out whenever we go live, because we are live here on this channel once a week, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern, and over on one of our other 2 channels, Geek for All, the Magic the Gathering channel, also Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. But, like I said, we have 3 channels. Our 3rd channel,
Gluten Free for All.
And you should definitely go check out those other 2 channels as well. Sub and ring the bells there too. And then last but not least, likes and shares go a very, very long way. And we really do appreciate any and all support that you are all willing to give.
Yes.
But for now, from us here at the Geek for All family of channels, I have been Joe.
And I'm Amy.
And as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.